It started like any other Wednesday afternoon. The sun was still high, casting a golden hue across the cul-de-sac, and I had just finished folding laundry when I heard the front door creak open. Emily came in, dropping her backpack with the usual thud, her sneakers squeaking on the tile as she stepped into the kitchen. But instead of her usual bubbly energy or a joke about something from school, she stood quietly in the doorway, holding a bright pink envelope in her hand. "Mom," she said, puzzled, "this was taped to the front door. It has my name on it." Wiped my hands on a dish towel and took it from her. My heart sank the second I saw the HOA logo in the top left corner. In bold black font, it read, "Notice of violation. Immediate attention required." My eyes darted to the line that said, "Resident, Emily Hart, age 16. My fingers tightened around the paper as I read further. The letter accused Emily of being an unauthorized resident, that she wasn't listed on our homeowner records, and therefore was in non-compliance with community bylaws regarding underage occupancy without formal approval. It even suggested that we were harboring a non-registered tenant and warned of potential eviction proceedings if we didn't rectify the matter within 14 days. I couldn't believe what I was reading. Emily, my daughter, born in this city, raised in this very house, somehow being treated like a squatter by the HOA. And of course, I knew exactly who was behind this. Marla Whitmore, the self-declared queen of our neighborhood, and president of the HOA board. Marla had always been difficult, petty really. A few months back, she sent me 3 citations in 1 week, one for leaving our garbage can out too long after pickup, another for overgrown grass that had barely grazed the height limit, and the third for Emily's sidewalk chalk art, which she deemed graffiti. But this, targeting my daughter? That was a whole new level. Emily looked up at me, confused and a little anxious. "Am I in trouble or something? Can I not live here?" "No, sweetheart," I said firmly, pulling her into a hug. "You absolutely live here. This is your home." I tried to keep my voice steady, but inside, I was seething. I marched straight to my filing cabinet, pulled out our mortgage paperwork, and retrieved Emily's birth certificate and school enrollment records. I made copies of everything. If Marla wanted to play hardball, I'd give her a game she wouldn't forget. But as I sat down at the dining table, flipping through our HOA handbook, something strange occurred to me. There was no clear rule stating that a minor had to be registered to live with their parents. What Marla cited was an obscure clause, likely twisted out of context. It wasn't about minors, it was about renters. That's when it hit me. Marla wasn't just mistaken, she was abusing her position. Later that evening, I called the HOA office. The assistant seemed hesitant but admitted that Marla had personally filed a complaint against us. I asked her to send me a copy of the filing. As soon as I received it, I forwarded it, along with a detailed complaint of my own, to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. I had read enough to know this kind of behavior could cross the line into discriminatory housing practices, especially when a child was involved. That night, Emily sat on the couch, watching a movie, trying to shake off the weirdness of it all. But I couldn't sit still. I stared out the window, my jaw tight. Marla thought she could intimidate us, bully my daughter, and hide behind her title. What she didn't know was that she had just messed with the wrong mom. The next morning, the air felt heavier. Maybe it was just me, still simmering from yesterday's letter, or maybe it was the way the neighborhood seemed unusually quiet, as if even the wind was waiting for something to happen. I poured myself a cup of coffee, trying to calm my nerves, and peeked out the window just as Emily was grabbing her backpack. She was halfway down the front steps when I saw her, Marla Whitmore, standing on our driveway. She wore her signature power walk suit, navy blue, too tight at the elbows, with a clipboard clutched to her chest like it was a badge of honor. Her mouth was already drawn into that tight little smirk she saved for people she thought she had cornered. She hadn't even knocked. She had come with intent. I was out the door in seconds. "Excuse me?" I said as I stepped outside, shielding my eyes from the morning sun. "Can I help you with something, Marla?" She didn't look at me. Her eyes were fixed on Emily, who froze halfway down the driveway, confused and nervous. Marla's tone was sharp and scolding, like Emily was a stray dog in the wrong yard. "You're not authorized to be living here, young lady," she said coldly. "We've reviewed the residential filings. Your name isn't listed anywhere. That's a violation." I stepped in front of my daughter so fast that Marla nearly bumped into me. "You do not get to speak to my daughter like that," I snapped. "She's not on the occupancy form," Marla said, lifting her clipboard like it held some kind of divine truth. Section 7.2 of the HOA bylaws clearly states that any residence not listed on the property record must be declared within 30 days or face legal consequences. If you refuse to cooperate, I will have no choice but to initiate eviction proceedings for the unauthorized tenant. I blinked. "She is my daughter." Marla arched a brow, as if that were irrelevant. "You'll have to file the proper paperwork. Until then, her presence here is not compliant with board rules." "You're unbelievable," I said, trying not to raise my voice in front of Emily. "She's 16. She was born here. She goes to the local high school. This is her home." "That may be," Marla said flatly, "but rules are rules." She turned on her heel and began walking back toward the sidewalk, but not before leaving a second envelope tucked into our mailbox, this one a formal warning of non-compliance. As she strutted away, clipboard swinging like a weapon, I watched Emily's eyes start to well up. "Am I going to get kicked out of my own house?" she asked softly. I kneeled down and took her hand. "Not a chance." Inside, I took a photo of the second notice and added it to the growing stack of documentation I was preparing. It was obvious Marla was trying to intimidate us, but this had gone too far. She wasn't enforcing rules. She was using them as a weapon, and I knew there were laws protecting families from this kind of harassment. I called the HUD regional office again and left a detailed voicemail explaining the new incident. I also scheduled a meeting with a local fair housing attorney. The more I looked into it, the clearer it became. Marla's actions weren't just unethical, they might be illegal. By the time Emily got home that afternoon, I had already printed out the Federal Fair Housing Act and highlighted every section that applied to us. Discrimination based on familial status? Check. Harassment by a housing authority figure? Check. Marla thought she was the law in this neighborhood, but she had no idea that the law was about to knock back, literally.